Good morning, everybody. Welcome to GW, Center for Integrative Medicine YouTube channel. So today I decided to do a little video of one of my all-time favorite Qi Gong practices called 8 Brocades. There are different variations to this practice. I've been doing it for many years, and you may have seen it done much more advanced and with slower variations and longer, etc. But this is the way I was taught, and I'm going to show you a very simple part of it. You can do this seated. I will be doing it standing, but pretty much almost every part can be done completely seated. So, the traditional way to do this is 8 repetition of each part and pretty slow. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do 4 of each, so it's a little shorter version. Otherwise, the video will be too long. But I'll try to keep this video to the usual, no more than maybe 10 or 11 minutes. And you can practice this anywhere. It is considered to be a healing or medical Qigong. I will try to talk you through some aspects of it, the ones that I know and the ones that I think are easy to understand. I will not be talking about moving energy in this video particularly, because I don't think that that's necessary with this particular form. But if you're advanced practitioner of Tai Chi or Qigong, move on. This video is too basic for you. But for anybody who's just interested in learning a little bit more, learning more breathing techniques, and following this channel, check it out. So without further ado, make sure that when you're standing or sitting in Qigong, that you don't do this, that your pelvic is tacked just a little bit, knees are slightly bent and fully relaxed. And with this posture, we're going to start with the first movement. We're going to inhale up, interlock our fingers, exhale, almost touching the crown of the crown, and then inhale, look up, stretch, and exhale, come down again, and again, inhale, look up, and exhale, come down. This is a wonderful technique for stretching the spine in the morning. It's also helps you to open the ribs and open the lungs. And slowly lower your hands, and we'll go for the next. So the next one, you start with your hands to kind of not necessarily touching, but at the level of the heart. The right hand is going to go up, and then we're going to tilt a little this way, and the left is going to go down, and it's going to have fingers pointing forward, and that's the inhale. So inhale up, and then come down and exhale. And when you pass, you start doing the other side, inhaling up and exhaling down. Again, this is stretching the rib cage, opening the lungs. Make sure your head is relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Don't forget to keep the knees unlocked. It's very important in most of the Qigong practices. Don't hold your breath, breathe freely, and keep the pace to your own liking. So you may want to do this very slow, or you may need to do it a little faster, just the way your breathing is. Don't overstretch when you bend. It's not necessary. Okay, very good. So the next one is called a bow and arrow. So your feet a little wider. If you're having a hard time holding this position or going really low the way you're supposed to be, it's okay. You can almost come up and just make sure your knees are slightly unlocked. If you sit it, it's a little bit easier. And we're starting with this position where the hands starting kind of similar. The right is going to be the string, the left and the arrow. The left is going to be the bow. And so you're going to inhale, open up the chest, looking to the left, and then exhale and reverse, and then look to the right. Again, this is also held really good for the lungs. But this is also begins to stretch shoulders, arms. It conditions the legs. Make sure that when you're forward, your bow hand, the wrist is kind of the finger pointing up, and so is the wrist. And then you're stretching your wrist as well as your shoulders and arms. And come back. So the next one, we're going to inhale. Hands gonna come up, it's the beginning, and then we're gonna exhale, lower our hands, going all the way down, standing here for just a second, and then inhale, have the head come up last, and then you're gonna raise your hands and you're gonna come up on your toes if you can. If you can't, you're just gonna raise your hand, stretch all the way up, and then lower the hands slowly. And then when you bring the hands up, you're gonna brush your legs and gonna gradually unfold your spine. So obviously this is another spine, but it also begins to kind of stretch the not just the spine, but also the organs begin to get engaged with this. You condition your legs also. You can try to hold here for a little bit longer. You don't have to really keep your knees here straight at all. You can, if you have to, you can bend them if you're not flexible like me. And you inhale when you come up again. Let's do this last one. Okay, very good. So the next one is gonna look like as if I'm punching, but this is actually a lot more, this practice is a lot more energetic. So you're kind of moving energy. So you start with your hands just above the hips. You're not really, you're gonna grab the energy here, but it's not tight. You're not really holding on to anything. So you're gently folding your wrists when you're ready. And so we're gonna inhale and punch, exhale and punch, but I'll show you this. And then this is where the inhale begins. You inhale, you grab the energy, you bring it into your dantian, into the middle of your stomach. And then you exhale, release, grab, bring into the belly, turn to the right, and then do it this way. Grab and bring, exhale, grab and bring, and I'm gonna do it silently for one movement. So if you're very energy sensitive, you're going to start feeling a lot of shifts at this part, because this is begins to be a lot more energy based, not necessarily stretching much of anything here. You're really beginning to draw the energy in. If you're starting to warm up, you may need to take a layer or two. That's good. I always do this one a little bit longer than the others. It feels very natural for me. If you're having a hard time holding the horse position with the feet longer like this, by all means you can unlock and come up a little if you have to. And if you need to, you can. If you sit it, it's again, of course, you don't have to do that. It's easier. Okay, so let's do the next one. So the next one, again, the feet's gonna be wide, and you're gonna put your hands just over the hips. Actually, let's do a slightly different sequence so that your feet don't get too tired. So we're going to first do the head movement, which is inhale to the right, exhale to the middle, inhale to the left, exhale to the middle, and then up, inhale up. Very careful here, don't overstretch. And down, and inhale down, and exhale up. So this is a head stretch, neck stretch, and releases. Again, do this your own pace of breathing. You may need to do it slower or faster. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one, where this one is a little more difficult technically. Again, if you need to keep your feet almost up, we're putting the hands on the right over the hips and starting to the right. We're going to inhale, then we're going to exhale, and then when you're doing inhale next time, you're going to do a full rotation like this and go down slowly on exhale. And then when you pass the middle, you're going to start inhaling, and then you finish back. So now, of course, again, this is a back stretch. Also, the organs getting to engaged. Of course, it's also working your hips, your legs. And you're following your breath. Similarly to yoga, big component of Qi Gong practice is a breath practice, really synced with the slow, really paced and controlled movements, where you're beginning to get aware of the energy movements inside. Again, inhale to the right, exhale to the middle. And come back, and I'll do the last one. Okay, come back. There are more movements in this series. The one I'm going to show you is one of my favorite. I'm going to take shoes off for this so you can get a better sense. Even if you're not seeing my feet, I'm going to back up a little bit. So what you're going to do here, what this practice engages, it really engages you dropping on your heels. So kind of an important practice. By the way, if you have a hiatal hernia practice, if you have a hiatal hernia, this is a really good component. You may want to drink a glass of water just before starting to do this. What you're doing is you're lifting your hands up as if you're kind of holding to the horse. So that literally this is called a horse, riding the horse practice. So you're going to come up just a little bit, and then you're going to drop. And then you're going to drop. So I'm realizing I'm on the deck, and when I do this, the camera is shaking, but that's okay. So you're going to do this comfortably. Make sure when you fall on your heels, nothing is hurting. If something is hurting, there could be a problem. So let's do this. And you do it pretty quickly. There's no real breathing here. This is just waking your body up. I'm realizing I have to keep moving because the camera is moving. So imagine you're on a horse and you're just kind of jumping up and down. can do this for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then relax, shake off the legs, shake off the hands a little bit, fully relax. Okay. There's a couple other movements that can be done as part of this. I often like to close it. That's not necessarily traditional, but what I like to close is to kind of go up and slightly activate meridians. So starting inside each arm, up in the middle, and then down outside, and then to the other side. So just a very gentle slight tapping 3 times each, and then the same on the other side. So you start down, come up again, and one last time. It's also really good to activate the kidney and adrenal, so you can massage it gently like this first, just to make sure that this areas get warmed up, and then you do a very slight tapping. Make sure you don't hit hard. It shouldn't really hurt. It should feel very, very pleasant and relaxed. And then move your hands lower and activate your glutes. Here, of course, you can and you should hit a little bit harder, so everything gets stimulated. Okay. And then most of the Qi Gong practices end with what's sometimes called as gathering of the sky or clouds, where you just stand here for a second. You can put your hands just below the dantian, on the dantian, just below the belly. Dantian is one of the centers. Just sense how your body feels. See if you feel any releases, or maybe something is tense or discomfortable. And so the closing, so we're going to inhale slowly, bring your hands up, gather the energy, and then exhale, slowly lower your hands, release them all the way down. Inhale. When you're inhaling, you're raising, you're kind of coming up, almost locking your knees, and then when you're exhaling, you're sitting down a little bit lower. Inhale up, and exhale down. So this is the last part. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this useful. I'm realizing this still lasted for way more than 10 minutes as I planned, but this whole practice, if you do it slowly 8 times, will take you at least 20 minutes, probably closer to 25. But you can do it shorter. If there's particular aspect, like let's say one of these movements was too hard, you can just drop it. There's a lot of flexibility here. There's no real dogma as to exactly how you have to do it. If you're gonna look for other 8 brocades, and I will put some links in the video to the ones that I personally like, or the ones that I think are a lot more technically correct, and also done with a lot more grace than the way I do it. It doesn't really matter for a medical or for the sort of the energetic aspect of this practice. Nothing has to look gorgeous. I mean, that's an extra bonus, but unnecessary. I hope you have a great day, and sorry if you saw a dog or some sounds that were here. I decided to do this in nature. Actually, you could totally do this in it doesn't really matter where you do it. Just make sure when you do it outside that the weather is good. You don't want to do this during very cold weather, in the strong wind, or in any kind of that the body feels uncomfortable. The body needs to feel very comfortable, but right now the weather outside is beautiful, not too hot, not too cold, so it's perfect. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned, stay tuned with what's up with the world of integrative medicine and all things related to the wellness, healing, and your health. Be well. Bye-bye.